But looking forward to a good game between these two teams, and at the moment, the kills in middle, the creep kills actually, OD is just demolishing the side of Clinks. I mean, Clinks is just getting Astral Imprisonment, and instantly the auto attacks come out. Actually, we might see a kill on Keeper of the Light on top lane. He's out of position, he's TPing. Can we see a stun? The stun's not going to be there, and Coddle's going to luckily TP on out of there, and now the creep's just blocked in. Poor Nyx Assassin.
Yeah. Anti-Mage doing quite well in his bottom lane, just at 14 last hits as well. So he has missed some of those last hits, and the problem with this is because there's no pulling and stacking, that a lot of those creeps do die under the tower where he can't really contest too much, particularly against the Clockwork who can dish out and lock you down a little bit with the battery assault and whatnot. So he does have to be a little bit careful, but overall it should be okay when we have another pause.
Clock is
Clockwork's
lagging. I would like to point out, I love this ward down in the bush on bottom lane. Being able to block those two camps against an axe is just so effective. It shuts down quite a lot of his farm. You can't double stack to get a lots of spins. You can't get one of the easier camps for a little bit of XP and that extra gold. So his jungle has basically been halved, and he has to wait every... Basically, he can clear two camps in 30-40 seconds, and then he has to wait another 20 seconds for those camps to spawn. So it makes life just that much difficult. Much more difficult for Queen Boudica.
Yeah, definitely agree. And you know, if you really wanted to, if those that that ward, the blocking ward wasn't there, he could also pull and stack, the creeps, the bottom lane creeps, which allows the lane to always be in anti-mage's favor. You know, if there's creeps again underneath the radiant tower, anti-mages can still get those last hits. It's not very difficult, but if they're underneath the dire tower, you have to be much more careful because anti-mage, he doesn't. He's relatively fragile when it comes to the when it comes to the physical damage, particularly in these early phases of the game until he starts, picking up some of those core items, such as the Yasha, which does give him a little bit more armor and whatnot. And when you have a Clockwork, as I was saying before, that battery assault does deal a lot of damage, but that blocking ward is so good. A lot of love going on between these two teams. And we do have that unpause, so we're back into this. Next Assassin picks up a double damage. Roaming to the top lane.
And the tri-lane of anything really, they're just so aggressive, and they're allowed to be aggressive. They have two heroes with a stun, they have a lifestealer whose open wounds feels like a stun at times, and now they've smoked up. Next Assassin's rotating in, they're gonna go for the Impale. Impale lands on one, can the Split Earth follow it? Split Earth will miss, and that Coddle is gonna get on out of there. I just feel as if that Coddle and Walk is such a gimmick combination. You throw out the Fatal Bonds, you have your Illuminate come flying through. It can do a lot of damage, but you shouldn't be relying on it. And these two heroes alone against this aggressive tri-lane is kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know, I'm still quite curious as to why they didn't just put Axe in the mid. I mean, yeah, he does suffer a little bit from the Astral, but at the same time, it would have made your tri-lane, sorry, yeah, it would have made your bottom tri-lane much stronger. And Clink's in the off lane, he would have been relatively okay as well. It's interesting, but nonetheless, it's because of also there's a block cams. This Axe hasn't had the most of the luck.
And Illuminate, Elite, and this Keeper of Light's Illuminate is at least doing a little bit of damage. I mean, it's not too much to be significant. Lifestealer just lifesteals his way back up. He's got 6 tangos on him, and he's got a Hand of Midas recipe waiting. So he just needs a few more creep kills, and he'll have his Midas. That's a 6-minute Midas, and that is a very nice timing. Not the fastest, but it's still at that timing where it's going to be very effective and help pay off a lot quicker down the road. Instead, if you would pick it up, say, at the 8 or 9-minute mark.
Yeah, this Axe falling relatively low again in the jungle, and he has to go back to base to heal up. The one thing I like, I guess I like about this Keeper of the Light and a Warlock being in his top lane. If it was up against the Clinks, they'd probably be able to get that top tier 1, anything really would have been able to kill that top tier 1 relatively quickly, just because they do also have that Leshrac, who is good at pushing towers, although he hasn't gotten Diabolic Edict yet. Um, Whereas this Keeper of Light, constantly can easily clear waves, so it's much harder here for anything really to push down on the tower, and Clockwork in the bottom lane can't do much either in that regard.
We just saw a nice counter ward come out from the side of Nyx and Shrek. They saw that the supports backed off quite fast, so they presumed a ward to be in that walkway, and they de-ward it successfully. And I absolutely agree with you. I mean, they have counter wards. They were expecting the Clinks, and they wanted to find kills on that Clinks. However, they threw two unlikely heroes into that lane, and then their ability to find that Clinks and shut him down just didn't happen, so to speak. So now that Nyx, he's rotating into that mid lane. He wants to try and find a kill on this Clinks in the meanwhile. He does have that one sentry ward if he wants to throw that down, if they've got enough damage to follow it up. OD is level 8. He's got level 3 of his Astral Imprisonment, so he is able to steal a fair amount of int. And if he can steal enough, Clinks won't be able to go invisible, and that would be very disastrous for this Clinks.
Yeah, definitely, and it's gonna take a while though. It's a lot of Clinks. The good thing about Clinks, he's not overly mana reliant on a lot of his key abilities. Like he's it's Skeleton Walk. I was going to say Wind Walk, but that's not what it's called. It's 75 mana, which is okay. It's not a lot. He doesn't have a lot to begin with, but same with his Searing Arrows. It's only 8 mana per cast, which isn't much. Although he still does need those things like the Orca just to ensure that he always does have that mana. Quite good items on him. I expect him to pick it up, particularly when you have something like an OD on the opponent's side.
I've just realised one of the biggest problems with LED, or as they like to be called, AMOLED, is they do not have any significant stuns on their side. You have your walk, and that's it. He needs to hit level 6. You have a taunt from the axe, but once again, that's not going to become too effective until he gets a blink dagger, which is going to be very late on in the game. So they can't find heroes and be able to gank them efficiently. As you saw then, we had the Coddle, walk, and even that Clinks. They were rotating in. They found that Nyx assassin trapped on the top river, but they couldn't do anything because they have no lockdown or no form of crowd control.
Yeah, definitely, and it does certainly make them a little bit weaker in this early game. I mean, they're doing well to only have lost the 1 kill, particularly when you have the combination of Keeper of Light and Warlock. I'm surprised that there hasn't been a little bit more aggression coming out from the Leshrac and the Nyx assassin in his top lane.
And Clockwork, he wants to find Blood middle. However, him and Nyx have decided against it. They're going to rotate top, and they're going to try and find 2 kills instead of on this Clinks. And with these 2 heroes currently so far out of position, they may even find it. Hookshot's ready and waiting, and Lifesteal will rage up. He's chasing them down. Rocket comes in. It's going to land. Going to get a nice stun off onto the wall, and then he leaves that to his Lifesteal. Lifesteal's going to open wounds up, and then we have Keeper of the Light. He's hooking out. Can see the hookshot. Hookshot comes in, but he went downwards. That was different. I think he hookshotted Coddle, and then as Coddle was TP'd, his direction changed, and then it just landed onto a creep. So that's a little interesting.
What the hell happened there? For a second I thought he like hooked him and he was going to like send him all the way back like to the fountain with the Keeper of Light, because that landed.
I was like, I was starting to follow him down. I just see him stop next to the tower. I was like, oh, okay, that's a letdown.
That's interesting. I haven't seen that happen before. But they still managed to capitalize that kill on that Warlock, which is certainly good for them. The Warlock, if he was able to get a quick level 6, which he now isn't able to get. I mean, it's 11 minutes into the game, and Warlock does fall again in the top lane to that combination, Nyx assassin and Lifesteal. But yeah, this Warlock, it has been shut down now. It's going to be a slower level 6, and when you have this sort of team-reliant play from the side of AMOLED, you're certainly going to struggle.
And they find the pickoff on the Axe in the jungle. Axe was running low from taking that satire in his camp, and then Clockwork just walks in with his illusions, finds the kill, traps him in the cogs, and then just flares him to death. So unfortunately for Axe, he's going to be set back a little more, and he was going for, I think he's going for a fast barbed armor. Not barbed armor, sorry. Chainmail. No. Blade mail. I'm getting every name wrong at the moment. But he's going for that fast blade mail, and I don't think this is the correct solution. You don't have too much health to be able to return back to your opposing enemies, especially if they have a lot more health than you. I mean, this OD alone has 50 more HP than this Axe, so even with that blade mail popped, OD could effectively kill you and still get away with his life.
Yeah, and this Axis have such a troublesome game so far this early. Like, he's died now, and he's had a lot of trouble in the jungle as well. Had to back off to base multiple times. We might see a little bit of action going on in this bottom lane. We do have 3 heroes from both teams moving in here. Klinks looks like he's just going to back off there.
Top tower is under attack.
And one of the nice things about AMOLED is they have this anti-mage. I mean, the game's not over until anti-mage says it's over. You could be behind by 30 kills, and then you could just come back purely because of that anti-mage. And then in mid lane, we have a nice astral imprisonment. Will we see OD initiate? No, we won't. OD could have easily finished off that Klink, so he had easily more ints by about 50, which would have been a solid 3, maybe 400 damage from Sanity clips, and then you throw a few auto attacks in with that Arcane Orb, and you would have found yourself a kill. So, a little bit of misplay, but on bottom lane, actually, we will see Warlock falling. Anti-Mage is going to jump on out of there. So, Nyx Assassin and Clockwork, nice combination there. Hook shot with that stun.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Definitely, and as you were saying before, you know, Anti-Mage, he's a hero who can bring an entire team back. Obviously, it does need to come online. He still comes online to the mid to late game though, and the thing is, I'm not sure if anything really are really going to let that happen. The problem is they're still going to struggle to push towers. We might actually see a mid tier 1 tower fall here. Doesn't look like anyone's going to teleport in, and OD not actually going to finish it so far. That can be denied. It probably should be denied. There we go.
I just want to put out another.
But yeah, I mean.
Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but yeah, I mean, until this anti-mage starts to come online, AMOLED is certainly going to have a lot of trouble.
And one of the biggest things about OD, like, as we just saw then, or at least on my screen, is once you put the Astral Imprisonment on a hero, if creeps die while you're on that Astral Imprisonment, you get 0 XP. And that hurts, and that shows. And that Sanity Eclipse pops that poor Klinks from 700 HP to nothing, hits onto the Coddle. Coddle will get finished off by that Clockwork Rocket, and that's 2 heroes dead with 0 effort on the side of anything, really.
Yeah, that Sanity did so much damage, completely destroyed that Klinks, and you know, the lineup of AMOLED, like, you know, they have that anti-mage who's obviously not a high intelligence hero, same with Axe. Those things, and as well as the Klinks, you know, when you have a hero like OD who can pop that and deal so much damage very quickly.
Down bottom lane, we have a little bit of initiation. The Warlock is getting a little bit of health, but he's not enough to get away. And Anti-Mage's got to be careful. He doesn't have enough to blink here. If they wanted to dive on him, they could find him. Actually, the OD is coming from behind. Auto attacks, and there's a dead Anti-Mage. Not watching his mana, and then he'll just get picked off on the side. So that's going to hurt, especially on the carry that needs it the most. He almost had his Battle Fury up and running. I mean, he needs another 300 for his Claymore or Broadsword, and then he needs the other 800 for that Mana Stone. But he was getting close to that Battle Fury, and he could have had it in a reasonable timing the way this game was going, which would have been about 18 minutes.
Yeah, it would have been a reasonably timed Battle Fury, and then he would have started to certainly put. Certainly be able to put more pressure on the opposing team as well. When you deal that much damage, but you also are able to farm much more quicker. You know, just blink in between camps, ensure you start to pull ahead in terms of those last hits, in terms of the GPM, the net worth, which currently is looking very grim here for AMOLED. You know, you have the lifesteal is actually sitting on at the top, and that's a lot thanks to the fact that he does have that Midas.
Radiant's
So
bottom
now
tower
they almost
Well,
instantly
anti-mage
picked up
kick.
the anti-mage, but one more orb. No, it's not going to find it. Poor OD's not going to be able to find it, but they're going to find a Clinks. Nice dust being popped. 5 heroes top. Tier 1's going to go down, and there's nothing this anti-mage can do about it. And there's nothing AMOLED can do about it either. And they're just going to keep falling behind. I mean, Axe is trying his hardest in the jungle to make his barbed armor. Not barbed armor. Why do I keep saying barbed armor? He's trying to make his blade mail. Oh, I can't believe I keep saying barbed armor. For those of you who don't know, that's the Heroes of New Earth's turn for blade mail.
Go back to hunt now.
And the sanity
Wow,
eclipse.
holy
Boom.
This is what we're talking about. This is just insane damage on these heroes who have had a struggling early game. They're low, they haven't got items, they haven't got the levels to really bring their intelligence up. And when you've got an OD who's had a great mid lane, it causes a lot of problems. Oh, this lifestyle taking a ton of damage. Nice infest there. Now Clinks is in trouble. Does get picked off there. Next assassin will get killed by the tower, and the warlock falls shortly after. And that's a tier 2 tower as well. This is
top tower has fallen.
anything really taking control.
Yeah, that's for sure. The mana void thrown out by anti-mage just then did 0 damage. Like, he threw it out, may have burned some mana, but that was as far as it went. And the damage coming out from anything really is just unstoppable at the moment. There's not much AMOLED can do about it. And anything really, they're just going to keep putting the aggression. I mean, they've started it once and they're winning it. Why not just keep putting the aggression on until something goes wrong? But at the moment, I don't think anything's going to go wrong. And they're just going to keep putting on that aggression.
We do see the blade mail come out here from Axe. I'm worried that it might be a little bit too late by now. It is 18 minutes in, and he's only been able to get a blade mail so far, and of course his tranquil boots, which he's had for a little while. But he hasn't had any impact in his game, and Axe isn't exactly a hero that, you know, continues to be great and super amazing as the game goes on. He sort of he will start to struggle, particularly as he hasn't been able to get any kills. He hasn't really been able to get much farm in this jungle either. It's certainly going to be tricky here. You know, he sort of needed a blink to be able to initiate and help his team set up the fights, particularly when you have this warlock who's level 6 now, but without that they are going to have a hard time.
Is under attack.
And now they've grouped up as 4. They're looking for someone in the jungle. Next assassin sneakily hiding in between those trees. The clockwork comes out of nowhere. It is landed onto the Clinks. War Golem is popped. It lands onto 1, and they still can't find that kill on the clockwork. Next assassin, however, he finds 2 kills, and he's going to walk on out of there. And now he may even find 1 onto this Clinks if he's not careful. Skeleton walks up in 5, 4. Can he get that stun? Stun's off. Auto attacks off. Rocket is there just in case, and that's 3 kills coming from 2 support heroes.
Yeah, and that's when Warlock popped his ultimate as well. You know, Clock did fall very low, but was able to get on out of there just in time. And now we see OD picking up the Cypher Vice. Anti-Mage does have his Battle Fury now, which it's not super fast, but it's not terrible timing either. The only problem is now that he's only got that Battle Fury. He doesn't have. He can still get locked down very easily. Hold that for. He's actually going to get picked up against that Outworld. And I was just about to say, you know, with the Cypher Vice, Anti-Mage is going to just get locked down and can't blink, and he's going to get picked off. Exactly what happened there.
And just like 4 auto attacks with that Arcane Orb was more than enough to pick him off. But one of the things that annoys me most about this OD is, whenever I play OD, I never get a single Essence or a proc. Every single shot he's done for like the last 10 minutes is just procced. And I just feel that completely unfair on the rest of us OD players.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still bugged and it pops off wards.
That's interesting.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It used to be bugged where it'd proc off Magic Wand, but they fixed that relatively quickly because obviously that's a bit overpowered. But I'm pretty sure it's still bugged to proc off wards. Anyway, now they're going to take Rush, and this is, I can't really see AMOLED, like they're going to struggle to come back here. I mean, the Axe still isn't really online. Anti-Mage hasn't been able to get as much farm as he'd like. It's looking troublesome. Oh, nice Hawk.
Hook shot, split earth, and there's the kill on that Warlock. They had the vision, and then just instantly make him pay for it. I I agree with you. I don't think there's too much AMOLED can do at the moment. I mean, they're on their back foot, and then being on the back foot when you've got the anti-mage is not where you want to be, especially when this anti-mage just can't farm. I mean, look at it. Rocket lands, and they're already chasing him down. If this Scythe goes off onto his anti-mage, which it just misses, that's a little bit unfortunate for anything really there. But if anti-mage had been picked off then, I think the game would have been over. There would have been the towers, and that probably would have been a Rax as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, anti-mage, having your team behind with an anti-mage on your team, it's not, generally it's okay as long as the anti-mage can get farm. But the problem is he hasn't been able to get it, and you know, anything really are certainly not going to just allow him to get it. Ooh, Sarcastic Ninja just misses that hook shot.
I think that's maybe his first hook shot he's missed of this game so far, because he's been playing quite well. He's
I'm
always
not sure
had
if we
those
count
hook
the one in
shots.
top.
Yeah, that was a little bit silly, so to speak. I mean, he landed it on creeps at least. Come on. In the end.
Well, technically he hit the Keeper of Light, it just didn't hit the Keeper of Light.
So now they're putting pressure. You have the OD. He throws in that Sanity Eclipse, picks off one, auto attacks the second one, pops the mech, and well, that's the end of that. So this should be a tier 2 tower, not chapter, going down very shortly.
Yeah, and even that Warlock Golem died very, very quickly just to the right-click damage coming out here from anything really. This is a tier 2 tower, and they might even want to continue to push into that tier 3. They do have the Aegis somewhere. Yeah, it's on the OD. And yeah, OD just completely destroyed Warlock, was it? He went in on first, or was it the Clinks?
The Clinks got popped by the Sanity's Eclipse, and then the auto attack cooked the walk. And in the meanwhile, we have the fantastic hook shot coming in by Sarcastic Ninja. Lands onto 2 Arcane Orbs, and a few auto attacks will pick off the other 2 heroes that were stuck in there. Lifesteal will find the kill onto that walk, and now they're chasing down that Cuddle. Cuddle's not going to be able to survive, gets hit by that Vendetta, and pops like a balloon. And there goes tier 3 tower.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, Anti-Mage is pushing up into this top. He's looking to go on this tier 2 as well. Kind of sitting at 1.7k. But yeah, his team's about to lose the tier 3. And this is looking very, very bad here for AMOLED. It's going to be a Rax here. I mean, even if Anti-Mage was there, there really isn't very much he can do. He doesn't quite deal enough damage, and oh, that's another pick off there. Oh, Clinks unable to get the kill on the lifestyle, he's able to teleport out of there, and he will fall. I still haven't yet. I don't think we've seen a Culling Blade coming out so far. I'd like to see one in this game. That would be very nice.
Okay, so I've just got word that, unfortunately, spoilers for anyone watching, that AMOLED do lose this and anything random do pick up the win, and we will be jumping into the next match, which will be Zycon against not AMOLED, against, oh actually yes, Zycon against AMOLED. So if you want to join me and jump on into that.
I'll definitely do so. Once people stop spamming me so I can actually click on the next kill.
All those kills.
Yep. Alright, so this will be Zycon vs AMOLED. While we get the lobby